Hey guys, MiniScrap1 here. I'm going to be doing a quick and dirty guide on Conqueror Singed. I will talk about first how to proc it, my favorite combos of how to proc it. Then I'll talk about why you need to do it this way. Then I'll talk about my items and summoner spells that I use to do it this way. I'll speak about why I think Conqueror Singed is good. And I'll also talk about different variations of Conqueror Singed, such as the Barrier Singed and the Gunblade Singed. So, basic combos without using summoners or items are as follows. Poison on, walk up, auto, fling, auto, auto. That will give you 10 stacks. As a melee champion, you receive 2 stacks out of 10 for every ability and auto attack hit. Singed has 2 damaging abilities, poison and fling, that gives 4 out of 10. Auto attack 3 times to give 6 out of 10, which is 10 out of 10. The much more easier combo that most people will probably use is poison on, fling 4, auto 6, auto 8, auto 10. Poison will give you 1 stack every 5 seconds, but because you need to stack Conqueror so quickly in the middle of a fight, generally it's much better just to focus on your auto attacks and get your Conqueror stacked up if you're not going to plan on using your Ignite or your Protobelt. However, whenever you bring things like your Ignite into the mix, things change a little bit because Ignite as a summoner spell will give you 1 stack, or in this case 2 out of 10 stacks, and Protobelt will also give you 1 stack. So my combo with just Ignite is as follows: poison, Ignite, fling, auto, auto. You can also do something like this. You can do poison, auto, Ignite, fling, auto, like that. That will give you 10. Keep in mind that the fling auto attack is not an auto attack reset, so try and get a really good feel on Singed auto attack and exactly the attack speed that you have per level. This does take a lot of practice, but it's not too hard to get the hang of after a few games. So now we can bring Protobelt into the mix too, because Protobelt as an active item also gives you a stack. Other active items that give you a stack of Conqueror are GLP will give you a stack. Don't recommend that item. Gunblade will give you a stack. Also don't recommend that item. I'll get into why later on. Bilgewater Cutlass gives you a stack. Don't recommend that for obvious reasons. And obviously Blade of the Rodent King gives you a stack, but then again, also don't recommend it for obvious reasons. So when you want to proc your Conqueror with Protobelt and Ignite, walk up. What I did there was Protobelt into Ignite, into Fling, into Auto Attack while Poison's on. That will give you 10 stacks. I'll do it one more time, and I'll narrate it this time just so you guys have a basic idea. Walk up with Poison, Proto, Ignite, Fling, Auto. We'll give it to you. Another combination you can do with this is... Another combination that you can do with this is Ignite, Proto, Fling, Auto. That gives you 10. As you can see, whenever you have your Protobelt and your Ignite both up, you can stack your Conqueror up very quickly. With just Protobelt, you can also do things like this. You can walk up, Proto, Fling, Auto, Auto. Another good one is walk up, Auto, Proto, Fling, Auto. Your Protobelt is actually, most people don't know this, Protobelt is actually an auto attack reset. So what that means is basically you can auto and then proto and then auto again immediately, and that will give you an extra auto attack without needing to take down your whole timer. So basically like this: auto, proto, auto, and that gives you 3 out of 5 stacks, or in this case 6 out of 10. And then you can obviously do some pretty funky combos with that. So a little variation on what I did before would be something like poison, proto, auto, fling, auto, without even needing to use the Ignite. That one's kind of messy. I'll do it one more time. So poison, auto, proto, fling, auto, like that. Very smooth, as you can see. Do that one more time just so you guys have one more visual representation. So walk up, poison on, auto, proto, fling, auto. And that is much faster than if you were to do the traditional, like, walk up, fling, poison, or sorry, proto, fling, auto attack, because your fling is not actually an auto attack reset. That's a very common misconception on Singed. It's not an auto attack reset. All it is an auto attack buffer. So what that means is whenever you fling something and you right click it like that to auto attack it, it will go through, but it will go through very slowly based on the next rotation of your auto attack. So say you do something like auto fling auto, it's not going to reset the way that auto proto auto will. So I'll show you the difference. Auto fling auto, see how it has to wait there. If you do something like auto, proto, auto, it'll actually reset much more quickly. So auto, proto, auto, like that. That's also part of the reason why Protobelt is so useful for Singed in Proc and Conqueror. So in review, there are several combos you can do, but I think when you have Ignite and Protobelt up, the most common one you're going to do is this, so Poison on, Proto, auto, fling, auto, like that. Next most common one, if you don't have your Ignite up, you will do Poison, auto, Proto, fling, auto, like that. And those are the two biggest ones. The other ones that I showed you earlier are more relevant before you have Protobelt. That's part of the reason why I take Ignite. And the whole setup overall is not that amazing when your Ignite's down early game or before you have Protobelt. But once you have this item, the whole thing really starts to go off really hard. And Ignite early game before you have Protobelt is there to also help you proc. So one more time with Ignite and no Protobelt, you walk up, auto, blink poison, Ignite, auto. Just like that. And that will help you proc it. So a few more things to talk about. Why is Conqueror so good on Singed? The reason why Conqueror is so good on Singed is because now in Season 10, it gives you much more AP than before. And Singed always has valued AP over the true damage versions of Conqueror. So in Season 8, Conqueror was only true damage, no AP. Singed didn't like that one that much, even though he could use it. Season 9, they changed up a bit. It started to give AP and healing instead of AP, healing, and true damage instead of just true damage. The true damage was lowered, and they added a healing factor and AP factor, so that one was definitely usable on Singed, but I don't think it was quite as good as the Season 10 version of Conqueror, which is more AP, no true damage, but more healing. However, the difference is now the healing is post-mitigation instead of pre-mitigation like in Season 9. So what that means is post-mitigation healing is healing that is calculated after you do damage to through resistances, whereas before it was before resistances were calculated. So all that means is now in Season 10, if the enemy champion that you're fighting has 85 MR or lower, you will be healing more than you were in Season 9. If they have 86 MR or more, you'll be healing less. That is why Liandry's Torment is very, very important and good against tanks, because tanks will stack high amounts of MR, and you will need to shred through that with the percent max health damage of Liandry's Torment. So let's talk about the other runes that help make Conqueror good. So obviously, Ravenous Hunter paired with Conqueror. Conqueror is just healing on top of healing. Same thing with Taste of Blood. You can swap out Domination second. I like to do Nimbus, Cloak, and Celerity sometimes against range matchups, but honestly, you really can't go wrong with Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. These are just two extremely stable runes that you pair with Conqueror for lots of healing. Triumph, obviously a very, very OP rune. The Precision Tree overall just, I think, has the strongest runes in the game. I might be a little bit biased, but the Precision runes just seem way too strong. And they have honestly been way too strong in my opinion since Runes of Forge has been released. Legend Tenacity, obviously very good on Singed. He doesn't have any gap closers he needs to run physically into a team. The Legend Tenacity helps him a lot with that, helps him to mitigate some crowd control. Very, very useful rune, very good on Singed. Last Stand, absolutely awesome on Singed, especially with Conqueror, because you're going to be taking damage and because you're going to be lower on health. Fun fact about Last Stand interaction with Poison Trail: if you have someone poisoned and you die, Last Stand will actually continue to deal damage and the whole time that your poison is still taking, so for an additional 2 seconds after your death. Last Stand will help you get tons and tons of kills. This rune will actually deal more damage than other keystones in general. So like Last Stand by itself would deal more damage than a Summon Airy Keystone would some games. Last Stand by itself would sometimes deal more damage than a Dark Harvest would, than a Comet would, things like that. That's why Last Stand is also very useful in Singed, because of the interaction with Poison Trail. I think, I'm not sure, I think it also interacts with Liandry's, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I believe it does, but I could be wrong. Now, different variations of Conqueror. Obviously, you've probably seen people doing Barrier Singed and Gunblade Singed, so I actually like Barrier a lot, but I only like it into very difficult matchups for Singed, such as Darius, Akali, Rise, Vlad, things that Kennen, Gnar, Teemo, things that can dominate the lane very hard against Singed. I will take Barrier into, especially Darius. That's the biggest one that I take Barrier into, because it basically counters his ultimate. You see him ulting, you pop your Barrier basically, and it makes it very, very hard for Darius to kill you, whereas traditionally, you know, you run Ignite or you run Teleport or you run Flash Ghost or something like that, it's not very hard for Darius to kill you because he just chops through you with his, you know, high burst damage. But when you take Barrier into the mix and you run underneath your tower, it makes it very hard for him to tower dive you, makes it hard for the jungler to tower dive you, and it makes it very hard for him to get a useful ultimate off to actually execute you. That's why I love Barrier in the hard matchups. However, in the vast majority of matchups, I am still using Ignite. I think Ignite is just too useful to proc Conqueror with. But if you are comfortable using Barrier in the hard matchups, it's not a bad summoner spell. The problem that I see a lot of Singed players doing currently is with Gunblade, however. I don't think that Gunblade, on paper, it's a good item because of the healing. However, it costs a lot of money, and 3,400 gold. For context, Liandry's costs 3,100 gold, which is 300 gold less, and that's normally the most expensive item you buy on Singed. It costs 900 more gold than Protobelt, which is its counterpart that I use, and it costs 800 more gold than Rylai's, which is generally your most reliable first item on Singed because of its cheapness and high AP value. So Gunblade is just extremely expensive for what it offers you, and you will actually have similar or more healing with Conqueror if you just rush your Liandry's first item anyways, as opposed to Gunblade. You also waste a lot of stats on the attack damage portion, the 40 AD, and the lifesteal. Bear in mind that you're paying for those things too as you're building it. So the thing you have to remember about Protobelt, the thing you have to remember about Gunblade is that when you're auto-attacking towers, it's only going to give you damage based on the higher value of your bonus AP or your bonus AD. You do not get both. Because this gives 80 AP and 40 AD, unless you have another AD item that will give you 80 or more total AD, it's not going to use any of the AD when you're hitting towers. Yeah, technically it will give you the bonus AD when you're hitting champions, but the thing to keep in mind is that Singed generally does not auto-attack that much in a team fight other than to proc Conqueror. After you proc Conqueror, you're really not going to auto that much unless you're just chasing someone down 1v1 and just running them down solo and killing them. Singed does not tend to have that level of auto-attack reliance in a fight, or even the ability to use auto-attacks in general. And honestly, the cost is just such a prohibiting factor in my opinion for Gunblade that I just don't think that it's that good to build. However, the exception that I have to that rule is whenever I am 6 items. So say I have, you know, Liandry's, Rylai's, I have Protobelt, I have Morello, I have Zhonya's, something like that. Like, say I have like a theoretical full item build. What I can do then is consider my slot efficiency. So Protobelt is a very cost-efficient item because you get a lot for the cost, but it's not a very slot-efficient item because there are stronger items when you are full build that you could put in that slot to flesh out your build. And so if I'm ever 6 items and the game is going to be like a really long game that you know you need to be just as strong as possible in, then I would sell the Protobelt and get a Gunblade, because then, you know, I can really flesh out my build and get the most value for my slots, even if I'm not getting the most value for my money, because obviously late game money is less and less of an issue. I think that's all I have to say on Conqueror. If you guys have any more questions, just go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll try and answer them as soon as possible. I hope you guys have a good day, and I hope that you guys learned something from this video. You can catch me streaming live on Twitch, usually every day, twitch.tv/minishcap1. And I will see you guys later. Have a good day.